So, hello everyone. Today we're gonna talk about the country Singapore, which I planning to go there in the near future. And this these two guys who got that information from Wikipedia about to tell me about Singapore more. Let's hear about it.
All right. So, first thing I'd like to briefly introduce you guys to the country Singapore.
Right.
So, Singapore is a sovereign city-state in Southeast Asia. It's known for its global financial hub, diverse populations, and efficient public services. And it's located in the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula. It comprises one main island and it has 63 other smaller ones. With a strategic location, Singapore has one of the busiest ports in the world. It is renowned for its cleanliness, strict laws, and vibrant cultural scene, blending Malay, Chinese, India, and Western influences. Singapore gained independence from Malaysia in 1965, and it has since developed into a highly developed and prosperous nation with a very high standard of living.
You mentioned like it has like busiest port. Can you tell me about like that geography or something?
Right. So for the geography is the terrain is mostly low lying with central plateau and hilly areas, including Bukit Timah, the highest natural point at 163 meters. The climate is tropical rainforest with no distinct seasons and is characterized by the uniform temperature and pressure, high humidity, and abundant rainfall throughout the year.
So if I go to Malaysia, it's quite like similar in terms of weather.
So you can have some at that because you went there before.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
How about it? Like the Malaysian and Singapore, how different?
So it's kind of same. Some like people or there are more Indian people and the weather and the feeling is nice.
All right, got it.
Right. So would you like to know about the history? 1824, Singapore became a British colony through a treaty with the Sultan of Johor. And in 1867, Singapore became a crown colony under direct British control. So that's for the colonial era. Now I'll move on to the World War II and the Japanese occupation period. So in 1942 to 1945, Japan took over Singapore and they call it Sionanto. And in 1945, British force retook Singapore from the Japanese because Japan surrendered. And then since then, Singapore have always been in the control of the British. And their path to their independence started in 1959 when Singapore gained self-governance with Lee Kuan Yew as their first prime minister. And then in 1963, Singapore joined Malaysia along with the Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak. And then in 1965, due to political and ethnic issue, Singapore left Malaysia and it became independent on August 9, 1965. And now for the modern era, so after independence, Singapore rapidly industrialized and developed economically under Lee Kuan Yew leadership. And it became global financial and trade hub with a strong and varied economy. And today, Singapore is known for its strong economy, efficient government, and high standard of living, and multicultural society. And these efforts made Singapore one of the most prosperous and stable countries in the world, known for its excellent infrastructure and vibrant cultural life. And that's it for the history. Yeah. So, how is Singapore connected to Europe, or what is their relation? So, Singapore relationship with the European is that former British colony with significant British influence as well. It was the member of the Commonwealth. That's the political party, and their economic relations are they have strong trades together, and then they have investment ties with the Europe, EU-Singapore Free Trade Agreement, enhancing economy relations, and their diplomatic and cultural relations. They have active diplomatic missions, educational collaborations, and significant tourism between Singapore and Europe as well. They're efficient and they are corruption-free government with a strong legal system. And then other things like environmental parts, excellent urban planning, and known for cleanliness and green spaces. In Europe, also like that, right? A lot of green spaces and very clean, like I said.
We're gonna start with historical sites. It is my favorite part. The Raffles Hotel that is established in 1887 is famous for historical significance and the creation of the Singapore Sling cocktail. And the National Museum of Singapore is the oldest museum in Singapore. They show the country history through interactive exhibit and artifacts. And the Chinatown, a historical district featuring temple, market, and restore shop house that reflects Singapore Chinese heritage. And the next part is nature. It's garden by the bay. The iconic garden featuring the futuristic super tree grove, cloud forest, and flower dome.
Yeah. So for the budget and the tips you asked me about.
Yes.
So for the budget, I would say if you're like me, you go there and you stay at a mid-range hotel, mid-range restaurant. I think 350 Singapore dollar, or around 350 to 400, around like 10k, 15k baht. That would cover it all for the cost of living, food, and transport as well. And for the tips, so travel tips, I would say use public transport because their country is pretty advanced, and there's a lot of free attractions you can go to, like the gardens, the Merlion parks, or the weather there is quite nice, so you can visit the country. Safety tips, I would say the country is quite safe, low crime rate. So in conclusion, I think if you want to go to Singapore, or you guys want to go to Singapore, you should probably bring like a couple things, money, passport, yeah, of course, right, passport, and and you should also know a couple things as well. Like I said, the history, the background, so you feel like some kind of connection between the place.
Maybe some of their culture.
Yeah, and learn their culture as well. So you're more like into your trips. And the places like Ahmad said, there's a lot of places you can go to. That would be all for Singapore.
Yeah, thank you. Like a really good, helpful information that you guys gave me and also our audience. So thank you for, turning to this podcast, I might say. Or just a fun talk.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. See
No
you.
problem.